Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I am here to diminish Antonio Cisneros' claim that online streaming entertainment will replace traditional TV in America. His first claim is he said that traditional TV viewing is declining. Yes, it's declining, but at a very slow rate. So slow it's almost non-existent. Just this year, according to Verge.com, Charter Communications just bought Time Warner out. They paid $55 billion for Time Warner. Would they pay $55 billion to Time Warner if TV viewers was it declining that much? Another response. Streaming is just another delivery tool. Netflix broadcasts old shows that were on traditional TV years ago. How many people that have Netflix on here are going through Netflix, they can't find anything to watch? Anybody? Bunch of old movies, B movies, shows, TV shows from the 90s. Netflix is a little overrated. I think streaming services work good alongside regular TV. How many people have Netflix and regular cable TV? There we go. Antonio's second claim. People are cutting the cord and disconnecting from traditional TV. I think more cable companies are diversifying now. They offer you a package deal. They give you a bundle deal with TV and internet, and makes it a financially viable option for more people. Antonio's third claim is technology has progressed far enough to remove broadcasting in general. My response is sports. Sports gotta watch live. Dodger fan, you watched that game last night?
Of course.
You were on pins and needles, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if it happened yesterday, the day before, and you had to rewatch it, you already knew the outcome. Doesn't that just ruin it?
Yeah, definitely.
You gotta watch sports live. Another reason, advertising. The Super Bowl, 1 30-second spot cost $4.5 million for one commercial spot. That's about $150,000 a second. You can't get that unless it's live TV. All right. And another big deal when it comes to sports on TV is sports betting. According to NBC News, just on the Super Bowl alone, $98 million were wagered on one game. A total of $3.5 billion a year wagered on sports every day. And the main part with sports and betting, it's got to be live. If you know, obviously, if you know the outcome, you're not going to bet on the losing team. In conclusion, yes, TV broadcast is slowing down, but it's so slow that it doesn't even matter. Saying that TV is gonna, everybody's gonna go to online, yeah, it's gonna happen, but that's like also saying like, most people in the room are gonna lose their Social Security here. We're not gonna have Social Security. Thank you.
All right, well, you basically start with a claim that says we're going to diminish the significance of what the advocate's talking about. You're not going to deny that online streaming is going to become more important, or that, that there are other delivery systems, but you are going to argue and defend the concept of broadcast or traditional television continuing to function. On the first point, you signpost it relatively clearly, and you basically start off with a good example here where large companies have made substantial investments in the existing technologies, and it seems unlikely that they would do so if it was all going to disappear tomorrow. I do like the idea that you're talking about here, that these things are connected to one another, that it's a delivery tool. The example of Netflix, for instance, and you do have to use the audience a little bit for your illustration here, but it worked pretty effectively. Everybody's flip through Netflix and not found something that they wanted to watch. one of the things that you might want to talk about is how traditional media are more likely to provide that kind of programming. So although Netflix or Hulu or some of those other streaming services might have an occasional television program, they don't have studios that produce this material. They haven't had a long track record of doing so. They don't do it on a consistent basis. I mean, let's face it, Game of Thrones might be a great show, for instance, but a season is, what, 7 to 10 episodes a year?
Yeah.
If you're lucky, you get them in a year. And, what is the broadcast network doing? They're producing 22 episodes a season easily of multiple shows that they're doing simultaneously, and those things don't seem to be disappearing. So I don't think it's that hard to maybe make some comparisons and build that argument. I appreciate the audience survey, but I think you need to do a little bit of work on top of that to further that argument. On the second point, the bundling thing, I think is a reasonable argument. There's not much development of it, and the notion is that streaming is part of the delivery system. It's not a separate competitive thing. It is, in essence, an extension of the broadcast networks. All the broadcast networks are streaming their own shows on services. So it's not like they're saying, oh, we surrender, we give up, goodbye, and they're stepping off the stage. It says they're competing in the same arena as everybody else is doing. So it seems like that would be maybe the way to go. And it's all still about developing programming and finding content that's going on. Mm-hmm. By the way, I saw a story the other day. It's an indirect way of making this argument, but it was talking about hard media. In other words, DVDs and Blu-rays and that sort of thing. Yeah. The prediction was that was all going to disappear. And that prediction was made 2 or 3 years ago, and they've actually increased sales in the last year. So the idea that people are always predicting the death of something prematurely, and the idea that you said is, look, this is a long-term process. Certainly, the industry is going to evolve and emerge, and things will change, and maybe some of this will disappear. But the idea that it's going to vanish quickly, I think there's a good way to diminish that, maybe with some comparative stuff. The sports thing, though, here's the big issue that I'm thinking about, as you say, the sports. Can't you live stream sports? Because if you can live stream sports, then how is sports a unique advantage to broadcast television? Now, how's the Super Bowl, the advertising, the gambling all affected by that? It's still there, it's still available, only it's now just being delivered in a different system. I'm not sure that your argument works there. I mean, that's kind of what they've depended on, the broadcast networks. And I did see a story also going the other direction that suggests that they may all be in trouble because the sports ratings are all down this season, especially in the NFL. So they kind of counted on that as being the what do they call it, their firewall, so to speak, and that's kind of disappearing. So
one issue, buffering.
Yeah. Well, there you go. The technology stuff. It's great. Yeah, you're watching sports and suddenly it starts buffering in the middle of your play. It's the end of the Super Bowl and 30 seconds to go, and Seattle's on the 1 yard line, and they're about to score, and you're saying, "Oh, this is a piece of cake. It's all done." And then it starts scrolling, buffering, and you're sitting there for 5 minutes waiting for it to catch up, and then the game's already over.
And the opposite team just won.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.